Hi, this is Cheryl Long. I'm the editor-in-chief at Mother Earth News Magazine, and today I'm here in my Zone 6 Eastern Kansas garden, and I want to show you a number of things I've found are working out really well to use season extension gear plus choosing the right cold-hardy crops, so that basically in most parts of the country, even in the northern half of the U.S., you can enjoy fresh produce right through the winter. So to start us off, let me show you what I have coming up here. Now it's late November, it's after Thanksgiving here, it's a balmy day for us, but we've had several weeks of temperatures with 3/8 of an inch of ice on the bird baths, and temperatures have been in the low 20s, lots of frost. But under here we have quite a nice patch of bok choy, planted a little too thickly. I should have thinned that a little more. Then I have some red lettuce. I think in general, red lettuces tend to be a little more cold hardy than the non-reds. And then some spinach, which should be a lot bigger. I had a lot of trouble getting it to germinate in August, and I had to replant a couple times. But ideally, I would have that bed almost full and be picking on it. But by Christmas, I'll be picking salads out of this bed here in Zone 6. So you have a lot of different choices about the materials you use and the way you set up your season extension beds. You can use a traditional cold frame with a window sash on top with glass and set it somewhere and plant it with what you want. Some people like to use straw bales and put a window, build a box with straw bales and then set a window on top of that. But if you want something that's a little more versatile and flexible, what works best for me has been these wire arches. Under that plastic is just 2x4 welded wire fencing that you can buy in a roll, and then you just bend it to the shape you need, and then I'll show you a little bit later how I attach the plastic to that. You can also use this corrugated plastic and make boxes like the ones you see here. These were very simple to make. The only hard part actually is finding the corrugated plastic. I don't think you'll find it at local stores. You probably need to go online and just search corrugated plastic, and I think you'll find some suppliers will pop up. I basically just bent this, folded it, and cut the corners back so I could make like the box, and then just use some nylon cord to stitch the corners. If you make one slightly smaller than the other, then you can nest these together when you're not using them during the summer. And then the last option that I want to talk about is row covers that you can usually get at garden centers. They come in different weights. Some are designed more for summer use to keep insects away from plants. Some are heavier and designed more for winter use and give a little bit of insulation protection to your crops. If you want to double up, you can put the row cover down first and then put the plastic arch over it, and each layer you add, you're kind of moving your garden like one zone south. So if you do double layers, you're really changing your climate inside those beds that you protect. And then you want to choose the right cold hardy crops. We've got the bok choy is a good choice. We mentioned spinach. Some of the lettuces are really good. There's a variety of other crops that perhaps aren't the most commonly grown, but they just absolutely thrive in really cool, surprisingly cool conditions. People are sometimes amazed that there are plants out there that can literally grow even though they're freezing every night. One thing you do need to keep in mind is the possibility that these little mini plastic greenhouses could overheat. If you get a mild day in the winter, or especially in the early spring when it's warming up and maybe you haven't been thinking about it quite so much, they can overheat, and it's a good idea to keep an eye on the weather and plan to either come down in the morning and lift them off for the day, put them back on at night if you want, or I'll show you here a way that you can open them up on the ends to get some ventilation. So now let me show you how I like to work with these in terms of sealing them up tightly for the winter, against the winter winds, and also how to open them up when you need some ventilation. Some people, if you have really a lot of wind, you may need to lash them down. But I find what usually works pretty well for me is when I make the arch plastic, I cut it extra long And then I just tuck it down like that and drop a weight on it. And you can use a variety of weights. You could use a flower pot full of soil or a rock. You could use a brick. I also like to use my recycled kitty litter jugs and fill them with water. And they work really well. There's a handle. They look okay, and they didn't cost me anything. So now, let's say, oh, and by the way, if you're getting to the point in your life where you have a little trouble getting up and down, I really recommend this little stool here. It really does make life a little bit easier. So let's say you want to open it up. Obviously you could just pull it open, but if you take it up, fold it back, and then lift it up and just fold that flap back down under a little bit so it catches it, then it'll stay open for you as long as you want it open. So one of the things I like to do with these tunnels is check the temperature now and then, and I have a little thermometer that I can just drop down in there. So last week what I found was it was about 40 degrees outside. When I checked the temperature here, it was 60 degrees inside, so I got a 20-degree difference, and that makes a huge difference to those lettuces in there. Now let me show you how I make these. It's really quite simple and very quick. Okay, so now I want to show you how I like to make these little, some people call them low tunnels, I like to call them mini greenhouses. Basically, you go to the farm store and you get some welded wire fencing. This is a 2x4 mesh, which seems to work fine, and it's about 3 feet wide, and then you bend the edges down to make your little side walls. Cut it to the length you want, bend back the ends so they aren't sharp. For cutting, I like to use these. This is a small bolt cutter, but I find that smaller wire cutters are kind of hard to really work, so I find the bolt cutters are a better choice. So you got your wire, you've got it cut, you've got your ends folded in, and you've got it bent, and then you cut your plastic, make it extra long so you have plenty of room to tuck in to seal it up. And then I just use a regular office stapler. Works great. It staples, you fold your plastic over to kind of tuck it in there, and just staple along, and I'm done. So that's it. They're quick and simple to make. They're low cost. Anybody can do this. You need a couple of tools. You need something to cut the wire with, but that's pretty much it. Everybody has a stapler. You can make them different sizes for different beds. You can make them taller if you wanted to protect maybe your precious jalapeno peppers or something, and have fresh peppers for Thanksgiving. You could make a tall one and drop it over a row of peppers. In my mind, if you're serious about growing your own food, this is a wonderful way to take your summer garden and extend it into the early spring, and some parts of the country take it all the way through the winter by using these kinds of low tunnels or mini greenhouses. We just finished an article about this. You can find it online at motherearthnews.com. This is Cheryl Long, Editor-in-Chief at Mother Earth News. Thanks for watching.